Hi everyone, welcome back to Mayhem Madness, a channel that we do a little bit of everything on. I wanted to welcome you back to Hunt a Killer, Curtain Call, Episode 2. This is going to be kind of like our first episode where we just talk about what's inside the box and a little bit of information about the game. Something I didn't stress enough the last time was that I am not sponsored by a Hunt a Killer. So I'm not being paid to talk to you about this. I'm not endorsed in any way to kind of sell this to you. Honestly, this is one of the most exciting things I have going on during COVID. So I thought I'd share it as some interesting content and maybe encourage some of my mystery loving friends to explore it. If you see little kitten paws, I have a little helper today. So if you hear little meows or something like that, we have a friend. Okay, so this episode comes with a little card that tells you everything that's in it. So, like, it tells you have a letter, you have a police report, you have a ledger. Um, and so this is a way to know that you have all your items and also a way for you to be able to check them off if you're someone that needs to do that, to keep track of what you've seen and what you haven't seen. I'm not sure if this is a thing that they will do every episode, but this episode came with another pin. It is of a skull with a worm coming out of its eye. Can't say I've ever seen something like that before. Can't say I ever planned on owning something like this, but I do now. Cool, thanks. And something I forgot to show you the last episode was this cufflink that they sent. This is obviously a fake cufflink, but it's an evidence piece that was found next to the body. So they sent this for you to look at and possibly consider that this might be involved with the murder because it was near the body when they found her. Sophie thinks it's pretty cool. I think she's a little bit more excited about everything than I am, though. So like before, this comes in with a folder, so everything is organized for you, and it's keeping up with the theme with the Cadence Theater. So this is the theater person that's sending you all of your new evidence to review. The lady that works for the theater, her name is Julia, and she's just sending you a letter saying that we need to hurry up and figure out what's going on because we have a lot of people who are wanting to go to the theater, but they can't because it's shut down because of this murder scene. The only issue is the murder happened in 1934 and it's 2021, so it's definitely a cold case, but people are afraid to show up because of the murder. So I think that it should be the opposite. You would think that she'd be more people want to go there more because now she's a murder theater, but apparently I'm wrong. And as thanks, she sent us this Cadence Theater pen. So it's basically just a cool little souvenir to have for buying the subscription, I think. It doesn't seem to be of any importance, but cool little detail to add. So following the theme of the first episode that they sent out, they actually include some documents to kind of make this world more real to us and immerse us a little bit more. So this is just a news article about the understudy that took over for the lady who died. The lady who died was an actress for the theater, and when she went missing, her understudy, Evelyn, took over for her. So this is kind of a way to maybe sway your thoughts on who could have done it and who couldn't have done it. And I like the little details, like there's a coffee stain on it, so I think that's pretty cool. And this person that sent us to this, Julia, she's obviously been finding these items around that have been that's just been sitting in folders for a while, so obviously they're not going to be in pristine shape, so cool details. So our goal for this episode was listed in Julia's letter, and the letter basically said, this time you need to figure out who is innocent. So we need to rule someone out from the suspects list. We need to review what we've sent you, see if you can say yay or nay to certain people. So we just need to figure out one person that could have not possibly done the murder. We're getting to know some of the characters a little bit more this episode. We're getting letters that are written by the lady that died, her name is Viola's fiance, and his letter to his boss. And this is about a letter following up after she's been missing. And you can see that there is some code down here on the bottom. So that is something that you have to figure out, is what does this code mean? Why is there code in the first place? Once you figure out what this code is, it's actually pretty interesting what he said, because it asks a lot more questions than answers. Now, in answering some of the riddles or the code that they have, you have to refer to your little notebook that they gave you. If you're a Blue's Clues person, you know you need your handy dandy notebook. So there is things about music in here that's important, time signatures that are important that you need to know, stage referencing that's interesting and needs to be known. This is very important, I found out later on, and then some terms in case you need them. So this notebook comes in handy, so definitely make sure you keep everything from episode 1, because that did confirm what I said earlier, that everything is important and you need to hold on to it. So if you're not someone that likes to hold on to things for a while, now this is probably like 6 months worth of stuff, unless you get them all at one time. Yeah, probably want to avoid this. But once you figure out the code, you can keep moving forward. But this kind of raises questions about Hector and Ira. So not much information here other than it makes you question some things. Here we have a little delivery note. It's a box of some type. I don't know why we got a box, but we got a box. And the stage manager signed for it. And on the back is a bunch of directions, which is, if you go back to the notebook I showed you, it talks about the stage and its references, like center stage, down, right, center, things like that. So that is something to refer to. And there's a hint to the code up there. So this is something it was so confusing to me, but it was also interesting to look at. So this is, even though it seems like nothing, on the back there's something. And this is also some information that we have. So like, this is just somebody's personal to-do list that they found. But as you can see, it references to, if we can focus here, it references to the same diagram that I just showed you before. So you kind of have an idea of, see, ABC is here, and it's MNO. So it tells you it has to do with the alphabet, but you don't quite understand what's going on just yet. So for reference, again, this is what I'm talking about, the upstage right, and stage center, and downstage left. This is something that you need to solve those codes. It also came with this sheet of wages and payments that are going through. So like, they have like the mortgage on here, they have food expenses. Something that my stepdad pointed out is they spend a lot of money on liquor. Like, there's so much liquor in here, but they do not sell a lot of liquor. So is there a side story going on that someone was carting a lot of liquor home, and maybe the person knew about it, and that's why Viola was killed, because she knew about the liquor stealer? I do not think that's why she was killed, but that's the only thing we can come up with, is they either like their booze, or there is definitely some side things going on. As you can see over here, there is some code. I ended up having my stepdad writing the words in, so it was a family affair by the time we were done. So there is a little bit of spoilage here, sorry. But you can see that there is a code on the side of it, and it basically says that every third letter needs to be changed. So the first part we were able just to basically use common sense to figure out what it was saying, but the other ones got a little bit more confusing. So this one says everything's going to be okay. now that you're coming back. I don't know who's coming back, but that's to be continued. It says get in touch about, and we didn't figure out what this one was. So if anyone knows that answer, let me know. I think it's Viola, but I'm not sure. And then it says call bank about mortgage. So not everything on here is to do with the actual crime, but thought it was pretty cool. Now this is when I get a little picky. I did say last episode that the handwriting was legible and it was easy to read. This guy did not follow my rules. So that's not horrible, but sometimes it's a little confusing on certain letters. But I also have trouble seeing certain letters anyway. So I could be just being picky, but I was able to go on their website and I was able to see it typed. So that helped out a lot. Here's more of it. All the things that they have purchased on every date and when, how much, and then more code. So I didn't spoil everything on this one. So interesting stuff. And the thing with the code is you don't know if it's important or not. So you gotta kind of force yourself to do it just so you can figure out what's going on here. Okay, here's another handwritten letter that was written by the person that passed away, Viola. It starts out with code. And there, every so often, there's code in between. So the way you can tell it's code is because it doesn't make sense. So I'm taking precautions in case blank finds this letter, which is why a few phrases might seem a bit backwards to you. If you find yourself at a loss, sorry, my cats are fighting. So find yourself at a loss, take a look at the gift I embroidered you for reference and guidance. When vanity becomes elegance, the truth can emerge. And the special item that she's referring to is this handkerchief. It has the letter V for Viola, and it has the letter E. I think that's her last name. I'm not 100% sure. So I wasn't really sure at first what this meant. And I was trying to read this letter through the handkerchief. I was trying to fold it up. I was trying to figure everything out. It ended up being a very simple solution. So I'm not going to reveal it because that kind of gives it away. But it has to do with your alphabet. I can tell you that V equals E. So you can look at your alphabet, and if V equals E, I think you might be able to figure it out. But if you need more information on that, maybe ask me in the comments and I can help you out. Like I said, I might do an more in-depth thing of everything, an overview, once I finish the entire game. Haven't decided that yet, though. But, worst case scenario, I now have a new handkerchief. And this letter is actually important because it's written to someone that is not her husband. And she calls him a name that is a term of endearment, and talks about how she was only ever happy with them, whoever they are. And it references to another person that they both know. So it's a working person that they work with. And talks about how while Hector, her fiance, and her mother are doing things for the wedding, she's going to secretly meet with them. So things are a bit scandalous in the 30s, and our main character is not as innocent as we think. So there's a lot going on, a lot of different relationships involved here. So I thought I'd point that out. The plot thickens. Dun dun dun. The last item I have here is a letter that's written by the person that's passed away, Viola's fiance. And it talks about meeting Viola's mom to make wedding plans. And there's not really any code in here. It's just basically talking about his commitment to Viola. So it's kind of a letter that makes Viola look pretty bad. Now, I did notice there's a thing with dates here. So this letter was written August 17th, 1933. This letter that Viola wrote to her secret admirer is November 24th, 1933. So things might have been good here, but things went bad here. Something to keep in mind when you're doing the story. So I wanted to briefly show you these just so you can get an idea. These are like side notes that we had to make, like we're using different pieces of paper. We're doing all these notes and putting thoughts together on what things could be. So you just got to make the commitment of trying to figure things out. And it does get frustrating. So that's why we involved my stepdad, because we were just so frustrated. We didn't know what to do with some of the information we were getting. So it's helpful to get the multiple viewpoints as you can, so you can get fresh eyes or take breaks, because we could have finished this in one night if we really wanted to, but really it was nice to take a break and start again the next day. So these are just notes that I wrote. I thought it was a good idea to have some information there. I updated things, so like I've written at the beginning, I wrote who the characters were and who they're related to. I wrote all the codes out so I can refer to them in the next episodes, because I don't want to have to go through all of this individual stuff again. I wrote down the major plot points. Okay, so the last piece of the evidence is the report from the police station. So this talks about everyone's whereabouts during the night of the disappearance of Viola. So at this point in the storyline in 1934, Viola is only considered missing. She's not known to be murdered. Remember, we didn't find that out until just now. So these are things that we've come up with thanks to our friend. And so we are just kind of combing through old case information. So this is considered a cold case. So all this information is from the 30s. So based on what they found out from people, though, they just determined that she ran away from her own free will. And she's not considered a suspect of foul play or anything like that. They don't suspect her of foul play. They don't suspect, I should say. They don't oh my goodness sakes. They don't think she was killed, okay? And they say they're able to determine that based on what people have said about her and the events that took place. So it just talks about each person, each character, what they were doing that day, what they remember, where they went around the time that they believe that she went missing, what they remember that was happening with her, what kind of person she was, things like that. This was the main thing that helps you determine who is not a suspect. So remember, our goal for the episode was to figure out who was innocent. So this was our way to find out that this... I will say, though, that this was not the final information that I needed to decide who was innocent, because that was, once again, our goal. What helped me was the code. So the coding that I showed you earlier is what told me who was innocent. I already kind of had a thought based on the first episode who I thought I could trust, just based on what I was reading before. But codes like this told me who was innocent. So figuring these things out is worth it. Now, some of these codes, like I said before, it didn't really make or break the game or anything. It didn't make me clueless on anything. I didn't miss much, but some of it's very important. So some code you can take it or leave it, but some code is important because it kind of tells you what kind of person they were. And so we were able to determine who was not the killer. So at least we were able to eliminate one person in this whole scenario. So once we had the idea of who was not the killer, we had our one innocent person, we went to the website that we used before, and they had a different login for the next episode and a different password for the next episode, and that's how you can send them a fake email that says who you think the next person is, who the innocent person is. And funny thing was, we had the answer, so we typed it in, and for some reason the answer I got back was, "Are you sure about that? You might want to look again." So that kind of answered our question about what happens if you pick the wrong answer. It's not the end of the game. It's not that big a deal. They just say, try again. But it also stays within the storyline of, like, I don't think it could have been them, or I think you might want to look at this again because that doesn't make sense. Something they kept saying was, I'm not sure what you're talking about. So we put the name in, and I'm not sure what happened, but they said that it was wrong. So we're like, well, it has to be this person. How is it not this person? And based on everything that they've written, this has to be them. They have to be innocent. And so we typed in a few other people, same response, like, I'm not sure what you're talking about. You might want to review your notes. And so finally I got frustrated, and I literally put every character in because I was just so frustrated. And by that point, my brain was like done, because we were doing that staging code. And let me tell you, that was not easy, especially when you're working from your right versus someone else's right and your left versus someone else's left. Oh my gosh, my brain was too fried for that. So I was frustrated, so I was just typing random people, and it was the same response. And then finally I said, you know what, I'm 100% sure it has to be this person. So I rewrote it in, and they accepted it. So I'm not sure what I did wrong. Maybe I did a misspelling. Not 100% sure, but it's not the end of the world. So if you do play this game and you're like 99.999% sure that you were correct, I guess just keep putting it in. Try again. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. It could just be you misspelled something, or it just didn't understand what you were saying. So it could be a glitch. So keep going. Don't get too discouraged. So this concludes our second episode of A Hunt a Killer, episode 2 of Curtain Call. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to write them down below. Like I said, I am considering, of once I finish the entire series, to do a full in length, more in depth version of this with the answers. So I'm considering that, but keep in mind I do get this subscription monthly. So it's going to be a little while before we have an update with this episode. So for the episode 3, it's going to be a little while. I don't think the subscription's coming for a little bit longer. So keep in mind, I'm also going to be doing this with my mom. So when I see her, we'll do it. But in between the times, I'll be waiting. So it'll be a little bit before you hear from me again about this. But that's kind of how I play it too. So we'll be doing this together still. And I am going to plan on doing a Blair Witch Project video, so check that out. And I hope everyone's having a great day. Leave a subscription if you don't mind, and a like. If you do subscribe, I will gladly give you a shout out. And I hope everyone's having a good day. Remember that you're loved and you're appreciated, and you deserve so much, and you are worthy. Have a great day, guys. Be safe, be healthy. See you next time. Bye-bye.